Hi, everybody. My name's Don Smith. I'm with SSI Consulting, and I'm here today with Keith Carruthers, CEO and supply chain expert at SSI Consulting. Hi, Keith.
Hi, Don. How are you doing today?
Doing great, thanks. So today we're going to be talking about supply chain. And so one of the questions I have for you, Keith, is we've been hearing a lot about partnering with customers and suppliers. And this approach seems to be gaining a lot of momentum. Is this a new best practice, or has this always been a strategy that supply chain professionals used?
That's a good question, Don. I would say it depends on who you asked. I mean, the partnering concept really is grounded in relationships, establishing positive relationships rather than transactional relationships. And from a sales perspective, salespeople have been using that language for a long time. And I remember in my earlier days in supply chain, it used to kind of drive me nuts a bit when every salesperson in the world would come in and wanted to be my partner.
Yeah.
Because that was the new buzzword. And really what they meant, without saying it, was they wanted to be my partner when it was convenient to them. But when it was convenient to me, not so much. But really, there is a huge upside and value by having close relationships with key vendors, not with all vendors, because there's a cost to that, and there's a time invested in, and it's not really applicable to all categories. But for your key vendors, certainly having a close relationship can drive a lot of value for your organization. And in a couple of ways. When times are good, and everybody's getting lots of business and everybody's making lots of money and shipments are arriving on time and there's no real issues, you really don't see the value so much in the relationship. It's when things are difficult. Think of the COVID thing that we've been going through lately, and being able to have that relationship, that trusted relationship with your vendors, so that they can support you in whether you need additional payment terms or whether you need priority for your orders. That's where it really comes through. And the other thing that a lot of people miss is the whole transactional approach to purchasing that was around in the 50s and the 60s. We kind of, make vendors, 3 bids and a buy. We'd make our vendors compete and fight to the death to get our business. And then when there was one person left standing, we'd squeeze them a little more to get a little bit of more value, a little bit more price concession out of them. And then we'd give them a PO and we'd say, don't get too comfortable because we're going to do this cage match again next month. That people kind of thought that they were getting value because they were getting competitive lowest price possible, but they really weren't thinking value. And we need to understand in our businesses that we're experts at whatever our particular business is, but quite often we're not experts at what our key suppliers' businesses are. So if you have a good relationship, an open, trusting relationship, and a sharing of information, those vendors can really drive huge value for you by using their expertise. I remember one time I was looking to reduce some costs on some packaging purchases, and I talked to the supplier and said, I know you need to increase your margin, and I need to reduce my costs. So here's what I need an approach that's going to drive my costs down, but I need you to tell me how to do that because you're the expert. And they saved me far more, provided way more value than I could have ever gotten by simply treating them at an arm's length and not sharing information and not trusting what they could do. So there's big value in this relationship approach. I'm a little cautious on the term partnering because it often gets misused. But certainly the concept of that can provide tremendous value for your organization.
Right. Okay. So I think we pretty much covered off some of the benefits of it. Are there any drawbacks to taking this approach?
Well, there are certainly, as I mentioned earlier, it takes time and it takes effort. So it's really not applicable to all categories. You wouldn't want to invest in relationships for every single supplier on your supplier list. It's really the key vendors where this is really critical. And the other thing is some categories of products, some types of commodity products, where they're very standardized products and they're readily available in the marketplace.
Yeah.
The difference in quality and the difference in the fit and function of the item from supplier to supplier to supplier is probably not significantly different, and they tend to be lower spend categories for your organization. So those types of suppliers, maybe a three bids and a buy approach, or looking for quotations or requests for proposals, may be more
Yeah.
applicable there than with some of your key suppliers. So you need to be selective, and you need to choose where it's going to provide the maximum value for your organization.
Right. Okay. So do you have any other advice for supply chain professionals who might be watching?
You know, despite the fact that the upstream activities in the supply chain, the procurement and purchasing side, has changed dramatically over the last few decades, I still run into customers all the time, clients that we work with, that philosophy of trust and openness and really utilizing the vendors to drive value is something that they still don't get. They still believe, but keep it highly competitive and keep the pressure on them, and don't share our actual demand. Give them, they're outside our company. They're not a key extension of our business. So be careful what you say. I still see that a lot, and those organizations are really missing the boat. They're leaving a lot of value on the table by not, utilizing those key suppliers. I mean, you have to select them carefully. You have to be demanding. It's okay to have high expectations of your suppliers, but it's a reciprocal relationship, and you should be supporting them and listening to what their needs are as well, and trying to make sure that the relationship is working both ways. I remember a quote I saw one time in an article where one of the salespeople in an organization was asked about the relationship supplying Toyota, and the individual said, they're one of our toughest customers, but they're also one of our most loyal customers, and one of the customers who will go out of their way to help us succeed.
Yeah.
And we need to think about that. It's a two-way relationship.
Yeah.
And having short-term gains from a supplier who will not be there tomorrow because maybe you're not considering what their needs are doesn't do anybody any good. So especially in times like we're going through now, in the difficult times, we need to remember that, and we need to invest significantly but carefully and selectively in our key vendors to provide the maximum value for our organizations.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that, Keith.
Okay, Don, and thanks for taking some time with me today, and you have a great day and a great rest of the week.
Thank you. And you too as well. And to our viewers out there, I encourage you to submit any questions that you might have for Keith in the comment section below. We always look forward to hearing your comments, and any questions that are sent to us, we will respond to. So everybody take care and be safe.